All right, so everyone is in search of a everyday camera, something to carry around and have with you all day, every day to shoot photos. So I decided to get one too, but like I said, pre-order a Fujifilm camera that I won't still reveal because I didn't get it, but I won't reveal what camera is. I probably gonna still have it, but it's gonna take a while. So until then, I decided to buy something that won't surprise you, probably because you know I like old stuff, but it will definitely surprise you because it's not the brand that we ever talk on this channel. Hey, what is good everyone, Chris here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about a camera that has been released 13 years ago, something like that, 12, 13 years ago. A camera that it's well hyped and some might consider it the best all-around street photography and everyday carry camera ever built. This is the Sony RX1, not the RX1R, not the RX1R Mark II. The first iteration of this line, and to put it very, very lightly and to save you 10 minutes of watching this video, I am impressed of what this camera can do, and I never thought that I'm gonna be in love with the camera more than I am with this little baby right here. So RX1 is a line of cameras that Sony released in 2013, I believe, and this is the first iteration. The sensor inside this camera is a 24 megapixel sensor, and it's a full frame sensor. So yeah, you can tell by my face that I am shocked to have an 24 megapixel full frame sensor in this form factor. And if you want to know how big it is, this is the Holy Land Lark 2. This one is a 49 millimeter filter, and this filter fits right here on the lens. But two of these filters will make this camera. So two filters, one camera. This camera is not much bigger than the RX100 Mark IV, which I actually owned, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later in a different video. And I'm gonna tell you how good that camera is for having it all day, every day with you. But that camera has an 1-inch sensor. This one has a full frame sensor, a full 35 millimeter sensor that can produce amazing imagery. And I got it right after we had the video last week. I didn't expect it, I found it, and I couldn't just pass because the price was unbelievable. I paid $600 for this beautiful camera. So let's talk a little bit about this camera and what it can do for you in terms of photography, in terms of everyday carry, and if it's a good camera for 2025. Like I said, it's a 24 megapixel full frame sensor. This is a Sony sensor that you can find in the Sony a7 II, or I think in the 7R II as well, but that is a sensor that has more megapixels, around 42. There is an anti-aliasing filter on it. The R version of this camera has that filter removed and has more sharpness consequently, but I don't even know why they did that, because this lens, the 35 millimeter f2 Sonnar Zeiss lens, it's probably one of the sharpest lens in terms of a prime lens that you can carry in your pocket. It's an amazing lens. The build of the lens, everything about this camera is actually everything about this lens. Now, the camera is built out of magnesium alloy. It has a little bit of a heft to it. It has a small, tiny grip here. I don't even know if I can call it a grip. Most likely, this one has been built to offer you a little bit of a grip. There are some cameras like the RX100 that don't have anything, it's just pure metal, and that's a little bit slippery. It is pretty comfortable to hold, though it's small, and I was thinking about adding a grip. You know me, you know that I like you know, a good ergonomy on my camera, and I like to have the camera solid in my hand. But this one, it's pretty good, and I would not, let's say, alter the look of this camera by adding a grip, at least not for now. But I am in the market for a thumb rest or a thumb grip, the one that helps you hold the camera better from the back. On the back you have a little, very little small grip right here, and this one, it helps a little bit. The good thing about it is that there are no buttons underneath, at least from the way I'm holding it. So there are no buttons right here underneath that you can touch as every time you're gripping tighter on the camera. The only thing that you can touch is probably the dial on the back. And this one is another point about this camera. It has two dials, one that can help you change your shutter speed, and the other one that you can set it up to whatever you want. Also, this dial right here can act as a D-pad because it has 4 directional clicks, and you can set each of these clicks to whatever you want to your heart content. The only customizable button, a custom button actually, is the C1 button right here, and this one can be set to whatever you want. I obviously set it up as an ISO because I'm shooting with the ZF and the Z30, and that's where the ISO button is placed. So that makes me, you know, just go for it through the muscle memory and not thinking, oh my god, ISO, what do I have to change, if I need to change it on the go. This camera will probably be shoot mostly in ISO auto because, again, it's a full frame camera that provides amazing image quality all the way to probably 6400 ISO. Even 12800 can be used if you are applying a little bit of a noise reduction in all the software that they released lately and I didn't even know about. But yeah, it can provide good low light images, and there is not much of a damage other than, you know, the old Sony sensors problem with creating that color noise that we don't really like. The screen on the back, like I said, I'm not going into technicalities. I have no idea how many pixels does it have, but it's a fixed screen. It's not folding, it's not tilting, it's just a fixed screen, and that is one of the downsides for this camera when you're thinking of using it on the street, because it basically negates the idea of shooting down to your waist and look on the screen. But I rarely use that as a let's say method of composition when I'm on the street. I like to have the camera up here, or even if I'm putting it low, it's not gonna go below my waist and I can bend a little bit. I know it's not that incognito when you're doing that and people start to notice you, but for me it's still good. I still feel good doing that, and I never had a problem with people jumping on my throat that I'm taking their photos, because probably we're gonna make a video of how you should behave yourself on the street and how to act and react if people are saying anything about your willing to take their photo. Back to the camera, it does have something that I really love, and that is a flash that pops out. It's not bendable, it's not tiltable like in most of the Fujifilm camera, for example, that I really enjoy and love. It just shoots straight through your face, and this might be used for maybe some party photos or in the night, in the dark, when you have to use that to feel a little bit. It's a little bit powerful, and it's gonna make the photos look something that I don't like. And being a wedding photographer for so long, I kind of hate that look of the flash popping right into your eyes, but it's still here. It's good to have. It also has a hot shoe, and this one can be used for a flash, can be used for an EVF. Oh wait, this is the thing that I didn't tell you about it, huh? So it can be used for anything you want. It's a hot shoe, so it does have the contact, so you can use all kinds of accessories on top of it. Now, that's pretty much it for me. It does have a PASM dial right here that you can customize and use to change your modes from manual to shutter speed priority to auto to scene to video panorama, and it also has 3 modes. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, that you can customize to your heart content and just switch between them when you need to use this camera as a hybrid camera, or go from inside to outside, or whatever you're gonna use it for. That is pretty much everything that I want to tell you in terms of usability. It does shoot video 1080p up to, I believe, 60 frames per second or something like that. I might be wrong. I'm gonna put it on the screen if I'm wrong. It doesn't shoot 4K, so but the quality of the 1080p, it's not bad at all, especially because of this lens. And because we got to the lens, let's talk a little bit about it. So this is a Zeiss Sonnar 35mm f2, a very sharp lens with a beautiful character like any Zeiss lens out there. It does have a clickable aperture ring, and because they provided this aperture ring, you might not be able to set the aperture on any of the dials, on the back dials. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but it makes sense if you have an aperture ring to use it. And this being a point and shoot camera, this lens is a fixed lens, so you can't switch it to something else. They basically coupled the aperture straight to the menu, so that will help you change the aperture on the go. It goes from f2 to f22, and it doesn't have an A mode, which some might love. But you can set the camera on auto and just shoot auto if that's your vibe. Also, what I loved about this camera, and specifically about this lens, is the fact that you have a focus by wire, though I would have loved to be a linear focus motor, but it's a focus by wire, and it's not hard to focus, but it's not easy to use the manual focus. It has also a dial on the top right here that can switch this lens from 0.3 meters to infinity, or to 0.2 meters to 0.35, which makes it a macro lens. It's not a one-to-one macro lens, but I can tell you that the image quality and the magnification that you can get out of this lens, it's awesome. And I probably already put a few examples on the screen by now. You saw some of them were shot in macro mode. You can go very close to 0.2 meters, which is 20 centimeters. And that is very, very good for a 35mm lens. F2, very wide for shooting all day, every day, even into the night. I love the lens. It's this is the pinnacle of this camera. This is what makes this camera so desirable, and everyone is talking about it because of this lens. Now, I forgot to mention that right here on the left, the Fuji-esque switch of the focus modes from AFS to AFC to manual focus, it kind of gave me the, let's say, nostalgic feeling that I'm shooting on my XM1 that unfortunately I don't have anymore. Well, this is no Fuji, this is a Sony camera, and I know that some of you might hate Sony. I used to not hate, but dislike Sony cameras because the way they look, because the way they feel, and most importantly because of the color science that Sony used to have on their older sensors. And I wanna say that one more time, on their older sensors, because I had the A7 IV. I bought it for the same reason that I bought the Z3, and I bought it in the past to film all these YouTube videos and have it as a hybrid camera. And I can tell you that the color science is way different than even this one, because this is an older sensor. Like I said, A7 II it was the one that has this one. It might be the A7 as well, I'm not sure, but this is an older sensor. Now, in terms of functionality, and we're gonna finish with this because already the video is too long, the autofocus, which is probably the most important stuff for all of you or most of the people who are watching these videos, it's not amazing. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. It's not an autofocus of the 2020, it's not an autofocus of the 2018 even. It's the autofocus of 2013. And that means it hunts a little bit. That means it might miss from time to time. Is that a problem? It might be for some. It's not for me. I like to take my time when I'm composing a photo, and even if I'm on the street, and I'm gonna be on the street with this camera for many days from now on, and even that, I carefully pre-focus. I know how to use the autofocus system to my advantage, even if it's a slower one. And again, I shot the XM1 and the XT1, and old cameras that will tend to hunt a little bit, especially in a little bit lower light conditions. This one does pretty much the same to me in low light, and maybe a little bit better in good light, but I am for now happy after a week, happy with how it shoots. I might find some quirks and things that I might not like about it, and there are a few right now, but I want to talk about it because I want to make a video of what I like and what I dislike about it, and how the image quality and what to use to basically bring those colors that you love from Fujifilm or Nikon. And that is going to be a future video. But for now, what you need to know is that I bought this one to use it basically as an EDC camera that will replace that Olympus that I showed you, the small one, because that was mostly for fun, but it's a definitely smaller camera than this one. But this one is a very powerful camera. And now let me show you something that this is the Zeiss or Sony lens cap, and it's a full metal, nicely made, very easy to pinch lens hood, and it definitely looks good. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.